Good morning. Please look around you and notice where the exits are located. Emergency personnel are on duty to assist you should the need arise. Please be seated. And while you are seated, it might be an excellent opportunity to turn your cell phones off. We'll give you a second to do that.
Well, to take that a step further, what Jim was talking about, what Michael Waltrip and Dale Jr. were able to do a couple years ago, talking to Michael Waltrip after the race, and he said,
the candidates for degrees within the view of their families and other guests are here assembled to be recognized for having stayed the course of academic rigor in accordance with the procedures and policies of North Carolina Central University. They are the honorees for this hour. Please join me in applauding them. I now declare our 105th commencement exercises open. It gives me great pleasure to present to you the Chancellor of North Carolina Central University, Dr. James H. Ammons.
Here now in the presence of candidates for academic recognition, members of the faculty and administration, officials, alumni, honored guests, family, and friends. It is a distinct pleasure to be here today as we celebrate this milestone in American higher education, the 105th North Carolina Central University Commencement. We are here to honor the achievements and the promise of the members of the graduating class of 2005. At this time, I would like to welcome you to this commencement ceremony and now ask Reverend Page to please come forward for the meditation.
Allow me to share with you this morning a reading, The Author Unknown, as we reflect upon the past 4 years of our lives. God of life and love, we lift our hearts to you in praise and thanksgiving. We bless you for the goodness and the beauty of creation, for the rhythm of sunrises and sunsets, for the patterns of colors and the textures of growing things that sustain our hope and abundance of what is to come. We bless you for the landscape of our lives, for our successes and our failures, for the friends and the enemies who weave a mosaic through our horizon. We praise you for all your good works. We ask for grateful hearts and a spirit of generosity. Free us from being stingy with our words of praise and affirmation and our acts of forgiveness. Open us to the abundance of life and the love that you set before us. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, it now gives me great pleasure to introduce Mr. Charles Mercer, Jr., member of the University of North Carolina Board of Governors, Ms. Robin R. Render, Office of the President of the University of North Carolina, and Mr. Robert Williams, Chair of the Board of Trustees of North Carolina Central University. They will bring greetings.
I think yes. I think right now, if we're looking at what has been done in recent races, absolutely.
Senator Edwards, Vice President Render, Chancellor Ammons, Chairman Williams, other distinguished guests, and most importantly, graduating seniors. students, parents, extended family, and friends. And on this special weekend, mothers. On behalf of the University of North Carolina Board of Governors, I bring you greetings and congratulations on this graduation day. For almost 100 years, North Carolina Central University has stood for truth and has stood for service. From your founder and first president, James Shepard, who was honored this year with the reopening of the Shepard House, to Whiting, to Walker, to Chambers, to Emmons, this university has stood for opportunity and for excellence. You students have acknowledged you appreciate the search for truth as you have completed your academic studies. And you have demonstrated that you understand the importance of service by your community service project this year when you provided the largest donation of articles, over 7,000 articles, to the Durham Rescue Mission as part of the Martin Luther King activities on your campus. By this, you have understood, or you have acknowledged that you understand an important message, that your life will be defined not by what you get, but rather your life will be defined by what you give. When you leave this place, you no doubt will remember this campus, this football field, the 10:40 break, and the bounce. And for 4 years you were here and never invited me. As you leave this place and through life you roam, your thoughts will oft return to home. Ensure that your hearts will e'er be true to thee, your alma mater, NCC. And as you proceed through life, every step of the way, always remember dear old NCC's maroon and gray. Please know that my generation is regenerated by your presence today, and we welcome you as you commence to help us build a better world. And just to let you know that I have learned something since I've been on this campus today. E-Funk. E-Funk. Thank you.
Good morning. I can't top that. Chancellor Ammons, members of the Board of Trustees, Mr. Mercer, Senator Edwards, other distinguished guests, friends, family, and graduates, I am honored to greet you on behalf of the University of North Carolina Office of the President. It is great to be back home. To the graduates, I would like to focus for a minute my remarks on a few key words of recognition to you. The first one is achievement. You are all achievers, every one of you. Because of your persistence and your commitment, each of you have accomplished significantly towards your academic and professional goals. The second word of recognition is benevolence. Your presence here today shows that you are disposed to do good for yourself, for your families, and your community. Third, I join you in your celebration. You have much to celebrate today. So be joyful and proud of who you are. And finally, I would love to acknowledge your distinction. You have added significantly to this distinction of a great university, North Carolina Central University, and to the distinction of your families. And I'll pause and take this moment to join all the rest of the mothers out there with an early Happy Mother's Day. And hope you view this as part of your celebration of you. We share this special time of distinction with you. So graduates, please remember achievement, benevolence, celebration, and distinction. Congratulations to each of you, and go Eagles!
Greetings, members of the Board of Governors, fellow trustees, Senator Edwards, Chancellor Ammons, Provost Jones, other university officials, parents, and to our honored guests, members of the class of 2005. It is my pleasant privilege to greet you on behalf of the North Carolina Central University Board of Trustees. Aristotle once said, "Education is an ornament in prosperity and a refuge in adversity." Graduates, you entered North Carolina Central University with the objective of ensuring a productive and prosperous future for yourself. Your efforts in the classroom, as well as your community service and other constructive experiences, have yielded many accolades which may be reflected in your resumes. Consequently, most of you will have a very prosperous future. Yet, we know that adversity visits all of us and strengthens those of us who heed its hard lessons. It is the education that you obtain through your parents, professors, friends, and classmates that will propel you to prosperity and comfort you during difficult times. Take pride in your achievements and model yourselves in such a way that others will want to emulate you. We commend you on your choice of North Carolina Central University to pursue your studies and salute your accomplishments in your chosen fields. We believe that there have been reciprocal benefits for you and the university community as a result of your having been here. We applaud your achievements and we challenge you to keep your minds engaged, your hearts fulfilled, your health protected, and may you use all of these as you explore opportunities to build a better tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you all for those wonderful words of greetings. It is now my pleasure to introduce Mr. Devashi Woods, President of the Senior Class, and Ms. Paula Austin of the Graduate Students Association. Mr. Woods.
I know there's a lot of people who obviously it's a very important holiday and you need to be with your family, but it is, it's a night race at Darlington, and I think that's great.
Well, several points. First of all, I've never understood this fascination.
Greetings to the Chancellor of this wonderfully innovative and progressive university, Dr. James H. Ammons, to our gift for this morning, Vice Presidential candidate Senator Jonathan Edwards, the esteemed platform guests, Ms. Sharonda Arnold, Miss North Carolina Central University, Mr. DeWeston Haywood, Student Government Association President. The hardest working faculty and staff, the supportive family, friends, students, and other invited guests, and finally, to the newly North Carolina Central University's alumni, the graduating class of spring 2005. I stand to welcome you to the 105th commencement exercises. Well, it has all come to an end. We sit here reminiscing, some of us 4, some 5, some 6, and even some 7 years, whispering those famous lyrics, "It's been a long time coming." I stand here today to just make a declaration in front of our family, friends, and Lord God Almighty. We made it and we survived. If you look up the word graduation in Mr. Webster's Better Volumes, you'll find several definitions. There is one that says to grant academic degree or diploma. A second reads to make a change gradually over a set amount of time. And thirdly, reading to pass from one state of proficiency or prestige to a higher level. And ultimately, in its deepest sense, the latter definition is what this day is all about. You are being asked to graduate today, to accept the next stage of your life, to become more proficient, to have more prestige, and to live up to the responsibility that comes with that degree. May 7th, unlike any other day, shares a common denominator with many days and time. May 7th, 1824, Beethoven's famous Ninth Symphony premieres for the first time. May 7th, 1873, U.S. Marines attack Panama. May 7, 1914, the U.S. Congress establishes Mother's Day as a national holiday. And finally, May 7, 2005, 755 graduates of North Carolina Central University completes the assignment of making it through late night study sessions, making it through broken relationships, Eagleson and Chitley Hall, and our gloriously fashionable Chicken Wednesdays. The Playpen, La Baracas, the Bounce, Club Bed, or whatever it's being called these days, Mama Vaunt and Evalesco, begging a professor for a grade you thought you deserved, finding the person that you would spend eternity with, your boo-boo and them, or your snugglefoot. And finally realizing that the person that you really are is not the person that you were 4 years ago. We've made it through the dreaded asbestos, the millennium bug, 9/11, and an election that shocked the nation. We wore shirts that quoted the popular slogan, "Vote or die," and some feel that even afterwards we are still a nation dying. And to some it is still Carrie Edwards. We continue with 4 more years, and we hope to one day get out of the bushes. But as my Bible says, God will always keep a ram in the bush. We have survived it all. We have won the race, for the race is not given to the swift, neither the battle to the strong, but to he that endureth to the end. We shall live our lives as part of society, the educated minority, with a purpose beyond ourselves. The world is as bold and as broad as the interest that has brought you to this day. If you live it only for yourself, its limits will always be at arm's length. But if you live life to live again, the skies will be limitless. Finally, I say, we should hold our heads up high, shoulders squared straight, and know that we have made it. We have survived. When the enemy came in to take our lives, God lifted us standard. Today, divine protection, no weapon formed shall prosper against us. We made it this far by faith. Our future is brighter than our today. We will hold on to our praise. We made it. We survived.
Good morning. Distinguished guests, university officials, faculty, graduates, friends, and family, I am honored to bring greetings to you on behalf of North Carolina Central University's graduate students. Today I am graduating with a master's degree in history. The process of returning to school as an adult for a graduate degree, or really any degree, is a challenging one. Truly being a learner again means having to give up some of your power and admitting there are things you still want to know. For me, it meant giving up my time, shifting priorities, transforming relationships in my life, changing my economic status. It certainly has been a humbling experience. I came south for my graduate education, and it stands as diametrically opposite to my undergraduate experience in a small, private, predominantly white college in New York City where I grew up. This, in contrast to so many African Americans in the early 20th century who went north from southern cities and towns to find educational opportunity, speaks to the incredible growth and advancement made by communities of African descent in this country in the last 100 years. We, as individuals sitting here in our academic regalia, are surely evidence of that, products of that history and of this historically black university, North Carolina Central, which will itself be 100 years old soon. The faculty who have helped me get here respected the experiences and history I brought with me and helped me to build on those. I was challenged in places I needed to be, and sometimes in places I didn't think I needed to be. More importantly, I was encouraged, praised, counseled, and coached in all the right places and at the right moments when this graduation seemed like a dream. For this support, I am deeply grateful. In addition to having informed my practice as an educator, it has provided me valuable lessons about my own spirit and honestly about my ability to have blind faith, sometimes in someone else's belief that I could do it. Besides this truly amazing culmination I see before me of all of our work here at NCCU, it is the process of our work towards our degrees and the people involved in that process which deserve all the attention. So I encourage you all to give thanks to all those who had a hand in making this possible. And that includes, of course, faculty and staff of NCCU, but also friends, family, co-workers, even those random people who just happened to say the right thing on the right day when you thought nothing was going right and that you would never finish. And let's not forget giving some thanks to the universe who made it possible for you to not get that parking ticket all those times you parked illegally on campus. We could not have done this alone. And with that, I congratulate us all on our immense hard work and perseverance, encourage us to maintain both of those. Good luck and enjoy your day. It is simultaneously an end and a beginning. Congratulations, everyone.
As always, I'm happy to recognize platform guests and other guests who are seated in the audience. I would like to recognize from the North Carolina General Assembly, Representative Paul Lupke. Board of Governors member, Dr. Willie Gilchrist. Trustee Chairman Robert Williams. Trustee Kenneth Gibbs. Trustee DeWeston Haywood. Trustee Cressy Thigpen, and Trustee Kate Thomas. I have a few more names to call, so if you would hold your applause until I get to the end of this group, thank you. And now, administrators and members of the Chancellor's Cabinet, Dr. Beverly Washington Jones, Interim Provost and Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, Ms. Susan Hester, Interim Vice Chancellor for Institutional Advancement, Mr. Charles O'Dewar, Vice Chancellor for Financial Affairs, Mr. Roland H. Gaines, Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs, Ms. Kay Webb, Special Assistant to the Chancellor for Legal Affairs and General Counsel, our deans, Dr. Mattie Moss, Interim Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences, Dr. Benjamin Newhouse, Dean of the School of Business, Dr. Cecilia Stepp Jones, Dean of the School of Education, Attorney Janice Mills, Dean of the School of Law, Dr. Robert Ballard, Interim Dean of the School of Library and Information Sciences, Dr. Percy Murray, Dean of the Graduate School, Dr. Tung Nguyen, Assistant Dean of University College, Ms. Viola Williams, representing Shepherd Memorial Library, Dr. Achi DeBella, Chair of the Faculty Senate, Ms. Deborah Torres, Chair of the Employee Senate, Ms. Cheryl Bowman Medhin, Registrar, Ms. Sharonda Arnold, Ms. NCCU, Mr. Richard Smith, Vice President of the National Alumni Association, and other council members who are here with us today. Our faculty marshals are Dr. Vincent Goldman and Dr. Pauletta Bracey. And now I would like to recognize other guests who are here today. My wife, Ms. Judy Ammons, the parents of our graduates, spouses of our graduates, all other relatives and friends of graduates, other members of the UNC Board of Governors who are not on the stage, members of the U.S. Congress, members of the North Carolina Legislature, local officials, the Reverend clergy, our retired faculty, staff, and administrators, current faculty, staff, and administrators, NCCU students, NCCU alumni, the family of Dr. Walter Brown, his daughters, Judith Denise Brown and Jacqueline Diane Brown, and family friend, Mrs. Carol Bond, and all other friends of the university. Welcome. And now we will have a selection by the university choir.
I know, it's the flavor of the track. Every track has its own little personality. But even with the bumps, people don't complain about the track as much as they complain about road courses. And they still go to those. Right. So, of course they have to. Well, that's true. But the bumps, I don't think the bumps bother them that much. Race is part of the track. I mean, it's not that big a deal.
Doesn't bother me in my passenger car.
Going around the track at 45 miles per hour. When we come back to the All-Set Pit Reporters, we're going to talk about some comments Kyle Petty made about races being too long. A reserve. There is a line to go there. I'm going to stay away from it. Stay with us.
Listen up, men. You can now get a free 30-day sample box of Enzyte, the once-a-day tablet for natural male enhancement. Although launched in 2001, Enzyte continues to be the best-selling male supplement in North America with millions of satisfied long-term users. Enzyte customers report significant improvement in sexual response and quality. Non-prescription Enzyte is extremely effective and has not shown to interact with medications or have adverse side effects. Enzyte has a 93% customer satisfaction rating and an 83% reorder rate. If you would like a free 30-day sample box, just visit Enzyte.com. That's ENZYTE.com. Or call 1-800-778-5228.
Series is you have to be able to do everything that you used to do in the Bush Series and the Truck Series, except do it for 3 hours.
Absolutely beautiful. We want to thank the University Choir for that selection. Before I introduce our speaker this morning, I would like to recognize Jennifer Dolores Brown, daughter of Dr. Walter Brown. Our speaker for this morning is former U.S. Senator and Vice Presidential candidate John Edwards. The Honorable John Edwards currently serves as Director for the Center on Poverty, Work, and Opportunity at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. The center examines innovative and practical ideas for moving more Americans out of poverty and into the middle class. A native of Seneca, South Carolina, Senator Edwards was raised in Robbins, North Carolina, a small town in the Piedmont where he learned the values of hard work and perseverance from his father, Wallace, who worked in a textile mill for 36 years, and from his mother, Bobby, who ran a shop and worked in a post office. For the past 20 years, he dedicated his career to representing families and children hurt by negligence of others, standing up against the powerful insurance industry and their armies of lawyers. Edwards helped families through the darkest moments of their lives to overcome tremendous challenges. In 1998, he was elected to a U.S. Senate seat. In Congress, he addressed issues concerning American families, quality health care, better schools, protecting civil liberties, preserving the environment, saving Social Security and Medicare, and reforming the way campaigns are financed. After the Democratic primaries, Senator John Kerry picked Senator Edwards to serve as his running mate in the 2004 presidential election. Edwards is the first person in his family to attend college. He received his bachelor's degree from North Carolina State University. He earned his law degree from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. He is married to Elizabeth, whom he met as a law student. They have 4 children, Catherine, Emma, Jack, and Wade, who died in 1996. The Honorable John Edwards holds a special place in the heart of the NCCU family. In February 2003, when selected as a guest of an MSNBC Hardball College Tour segment with Chris Matthews, he selected North Carolina Central University as a location for the live broadcast, making NCCU the first and only historically black college or university to host this broadcast. We thank him for all of his support of NCCU, and we thank him for recognizing our value. And the NCCU family also sends our best to Mrs. Edwards as she recovers. So please join me this morning in welcoming our speaker, Senator John Edwards.
Thank you. Good morning. It's an honor to be here with you. Thank you, Chancellor. Thank you, this extraordinary choir, for their performance this morning. And congratulations to all of you, the class of 2005. I also want to say a thank you to your family and friends who supported you to get to this place you are this morning. You know, every time a graduation speaker steps to the mic to speak, they have a choice. They can give you a speech that includes a couple of jokes, a good story, and a thank you and congratulations. Or they can ask you to change the world. So, what do you say? You ready to change the world? We are here because of what's written, that all people are created equal, and that we are endowed with certain unalienable rights: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This is what we started more than 2 centuries ago, a great experiment in the history of mankind. Ordinary citizens gathered in their churches, in their stores, in their homes to pursue a greater good, civic in its promise and human in its hope. And it gave the farmer the same rights as the president. It gave the blacksmith the same chance as a ship merchant. And it gave the men and women who said that we had not honored our ideals the right to speak out in great calls for change. America is a place that has always believed in ascension, that one person can rise from very little and transform the world. It comes from our eternal belief that all of us have the same worth, that a doctor and a bus driver both matter exactly the same in America. They have different jobs, but that their hard work and dignity can lift up and change this world. This is what we believe. The idea of America can inspire young men and women to stand in harm's way thousands of miles from here. It can compel a young person, like all of you, to go out, move hundreds of miles away, without friends, without family, in order to teach a young child to be able to read. You can motivate a man to invent the next great machine. It can inspire a woman to cure a deadly disease. And it can give you the determination to end one of the great injustices in America today. 36 million Americans who live in poverty every day, and the 25% of us who live on the margins. You know, all of us know that America, our country, it wasn't perfect when it started. Too many people were forgotten. Women couldn't vote. Young children were sent to work long days in the mills. We ignored the human rights in other countries as long as we could sell goods there. And the greatest injustice occurred every time a slave was bought or sold. But good and determined people demanded change. They demanded that America get back on a great moral path. They refused to stand still for injustice. They rejected the status quo. And these great victories were won because people like you, students, parents, teachers, doctors, bus drivers, had the courage to stand up and demand that we honor what was written. It is time for that kind of sea change in America again. It is time for you, our young people, to lead us in a cause that's bigger than ourselves. It is time to set America right again. If we are all truly equal in the eyes of the Lord and in the eyes of the law, if we are all given an equal chance to rise to our full potential, if we believe that there is still dignity in hard work, then poverty has no place in America. Think about, just for a minute, think with me about what was written. Is it a life to work 2 jobs and still know every night you have to send your child to bed hungry? Is it liberty to be able to visit your sick child in the hospital because you can't leave your job? Is it the pursuit of happiness to stand on a street and open your palm and beg for a few pennies? No matter how hard, how difficult, or how insurmountable the change may seem, we must end poverty in America. It's a challenge we must face because the truth is, the content of America's character is at stake. The poverty of one American limits the prosperity of all of us, all Americans. You know, I've spent the last 3 years, as many of you know, traveling the country, and I've met a lot of folks in America who are struggling. In Little Washington, in eastern North Carolina, I met privately with a group of men and women who were struggling. One woman had been living in the shelter. She told us that she wanted to go to work. She wanted desperately to work to be able to support her family. If she walked into this graduation, if she walked in anywhere, she'd fit in perfectly fine. But the day before she met with me, she walked into the local laundromat to get in out of the cold. And she told me the story. She said, I walked in, a woman looked down at me and said, you know, I recognize you. You're one of those people who live in the shelter. And she said, yes, ma'am, I am. And she said, you know, as far as I'm concerned, all those people who live in the shelter are just trash. There, but for the grace of God, go every single one of us. You know, I've been lucky. My father, and many of you have heard my story, probably more than you want to hear it anymore, but I've been blessed. My father did, in fact, have to borrow $50 to get me out of the hospital when I was born. He took me home to a mill village, the mill village that housed the people who worked in the mill, that my grandparents worked in, that my father worked in. He worked hard, and my mother worked hard too, and they were able, over time, to save some money, to buy a house, and eventually, as the chancellor said, I was blessed to be the first person in my family to be able to go to college. But I was lucky. All around me, during my life, I have seen families that weren't as lucky, that still struggled, that had a hard time, that lost everything because something went wrong. A layoff meant they had to sell their house. An illness wiped out their savings and they had to close their business. One tragedy after another meant that they could never build the kind of life they wanted to build for their kids. The truth is, I have lived in the bright light of America. But today that light is flickering. People are struggling more and more. They're falling deeper and deeper into debt. You know, the Bible says the poor will always be with us. Some people use that as an excuse to do nothing. I believe it's a call to action, a call to service. We know that having so many Americans living in poverty limits the prosperity of America. When 46 million Americans don't have health care and have to flood our emergency rooms, it means every one of us pay more. When millions are hopeless in our cities and rural areas and turn to drugs and crime, we all of us, pay the price. And when so many Americans are living in poverty and at the edge, our economy suffers. And we all know that America thrives when we have a strong and growing and vibrant middle class. But there's another reason we have to end poverty in America. Because it's wrong. In a nation of our wealth and prosperity, to have 36 million Americans living in poverty every day is wrong. And we have a moral responsibility to do something about it. They're doing, these folks, they are doing everything right, and they are still struggling. I tell you, the truth is, when people do right by America, we ought to do right by them. Our notion of what it means to be poor in America in the 21st century also has to change in order for us to actually do something about it. We need to see this problem as a whole, not the old stereotype that's existed for so long. We have to recognize what it means to be poor in America today and living at the edge. Recently, the author of the book, The Working Poor, David Shipler, joined us for a panel we had in Chapel Hill to talk about poverty in America. And he talked about a single mother that he had met who had an extraordinary story. Because she didn't have any assets and because her income was low, she lived in a very drafty old wooden house. This drafty wooden house made her son's asthma worse. It led to him having breathing problems. As a result, they had 2 ambulance trips. The trips to the ambulance led to ambulance charges that they couldn't pay. That resulted in a damage to her credit report. Then she was denied a loan to be able to buy a mobile home. That meant she had to stay in that same drafty house, the very house that had already contributed to her son's asthma attacks. And when she needed hundreds of dollars to turn her phone back on, and she had to buy a car from her dealership that charged high interest rates, you know what her son said? Her son said, you know, Mom, being poor is expensive. And he is exactly right. It is expensive, not just for that family, it's expensive for us as a country. Poverty is all around us. We know it. We know that there are 36 million Americans who live in poverty today, 13 million more than lived in poverty 30 years ago. About 1 in 3 African American and Latino children live in poverty. About 1 in 4 working families earn so little that they struggle every day just to make ends meet and to be able to pay their bills. And the average wealth of an African American family in America today is $6,000. Average net worth of a Latino family, $8,000. Average net worth for a white family, $80,000. We have work to do. We have to close this gap. Let me say, I don't claim to have all the answers. I know that I don't have all the answers. But we're going to ask some questions. That's why I've helped start this Poverty Center at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. And we're going to ask some hard questions. For example, can we combat poverty in a way that honors the values that we believe in, hard work and family and responsibility? Can we find a way to build more homes and less shelters, to build more small businesses and less minimum wage jobs? Can we find a way for government and charities and religious organizations to work together to fight poverty in this country? Can we work to end drug addiction and teen pregnancy? Can we actually restore the promise of America for all those millions who live in poverty every day? Well, I'm going to be working on trying to find answers to those questions. But here's what I know. This is what we know today. The first thing we can do is to talk about the poverty issue, to shine a bright light on this problem so that the American people look at it. Good people on both sides of the aisle want to do something about this. Some for moral reasons, some for economic reasons. But for whatever the reason, anybody who has good ideas on this ought to be heard. We need to put this back on the agenda. It has been forgotten for too long. Second, we need to make sure that families aren't just getting by. We need to make sure they're actually getting ahead by being able to build some assets. Today, more than 25% of America's working families are living on the edge of poverty. They can't survive for 3 months if something goes wrong. Our families need a foundation. They need something to fall back on, and we have to help them do that. We have to create that safety net so that if they have a medical emergency or a lost job or a traumatic event in their family, they don't go off the cliff and go straight into bankruptcy. So there is a very real and fundamental way that we can prevent families from falling into poverty. The other month we had an expert from California, Melvin Oliver, who talked about the impact that the Homestead Act, the New Deal, the GI Bill had in terms of trying to create wealth in this country. He said income helps you get along, but assets help you actually get ahead. That's why we ought to, as a nation, take a serious look at offering baby bonds. For example, let's say we provided $500 to every child at birth and perhaps an additional $500 for low-income families. We told them if they saved money, we would help match their savings. Imagine what that would say to a poor boy growing up right here. If he knew that if he studied hard, if he stayed in school, that he would have $20 or $30 or $40,000 in the bank when he turned 18. Imagine what it would do to his sense of hope and his sense of possibilities for the future. It could change whole communities. This is what you and I can do together. Third, we need to make sure that work pays again in this country. We need to make sure that every person who works is not living in poverty. But that, by the way, that responsibility is to make sure that people who are working have a decent job, a job that'll do more than just pay their bills and put food on the table. A good job beats a government program every single time. And that's why we need to make work pay again in this country. We need to finally raise the minimum wage and end the national embarrassment of the minimum wage in America today. Here's the truth. Today, a single mom with 2 kids who works 40 hours a week year-round for the minimum wage and who also gets to take advantage of the maximum earned income tax credit would still find her family 5% below the poverty line. It's wrong. Congress ought to do something about this today, and if they don't, states should do something about it. We need to strengthen the earned income tax credit again. Make sure that single workers get their fair share. We know that marriage matters in this country. So it doesn't make any sense to have a marriage penalty for people who are trying to take advantage of the earned income tax credit. We need to enable American workers to negotiate for higher wages by creating a level playing field for those who are trying to organize a union. And whether workers are in a union or not, we need to ask if corporations are paying a fair wage. I mean, is it right and fair that a company makes $10 billion a year and gives its CEO $23 million a year and then has tens of thousands of workers who earn $7 an hour? Is it fair? Is it fair that they have to rely on the government for health insurance and food stamps just to be able to survive? We all have to be responsible. Individuals, government, corporations. And finally, we need to fix the health care system in this country. If you are poor and you're not working, you and your child get health insurance through Medicaid. But if you do the right thing and you go to work, your Medicaid gets cut off and you don't have health insurance. This makes no sense. We need a comprehensive reform of the health care system in this country. But short of that, we also need to take some simple steps that we can do right now. For example, we've been talking for years about expanding the S-CHIP program in Medicaid to provide more coverage for low-income families. Should have been done a long time ago. We ought to do it right now. Now, I've talked about the responsibility of government, but this is not government's responsibility alone. Private charities, religious organizations can make an enormous difference. I have seen it myself through my work with urban ministries. We can and we must honor and engage the work of those who are inspired by faith. Now, how are we going to pay for all this? The answer is, if we have the will to do something about poverty in America, we will be able to pay for it. For example, tax cuts for families who are making over $400,000 a year will cost America more than $40 billion a year. That's $40 billion a year that we're giving entirely to families that are making over $400,000. $40 billion can make an enormous difference in the lives of these families that are struggling, in the lives of all these folks that I've been meeting with. And when the skeptics say that we can't end poverty in this country, you tell them that we have made a difference before. Social Security lifted millions of seniors out of poverty, and we should not be weakening Social Security and taking the security out of Social Security. Medicare and Medicaid provide our seniors and our most vulnerable with the health care that they need. Head Start alone has enrolled 20 million children. It helps to keep our kids healthy and to get a good start. In the 90s, President Clinton dramatically expanded the Earned Income Tax Credit and provided more than $34 billion worth of help to 19 million low-income working families. And if you look today at what's happening in England, in 1999, Prime Minister Tony Blair, who has just been reelected, said he wanted to eliminate poverty in England by 2020. He pushed for a national minimum wage, tax credit for child care and working families. And England will reach its first target this year by lifting 1 million children out of poverty. The reason these efforts succeed is because the policies reflect the values that we believe in. The dignity of hard work is at the core of Social Security and the Earned Income Tax Credit. Equal opportunity and the chance to begin life on equal ground is what Head Start's about. And personal responsibility is what helped jumpstart welfare reform. You know, the truth is, the road in the past in fighting poverty has been bumpy, and we've made some mistakes. Sometimes we failed to honor our values of hard work and responsibility. Sometimes we gave too much money to bureaucracies and not to the people who needed the help that the money could give. Sometimes our good intentions took us the wrong way. But we know that we can change lives and we can change the course of this country when we do something about poverty. It took the courage of President Franklin Roosevelt to tell us what he saw in America. He said, "I see 1/3 of a nation ill-housed, ill-clad, ill-nourished. But it is not in despair that I paint you this picture. I paint it for you in hope, because the nation, seeing and understanding the injustice in it, proposes to paint it out." So don't look away from the poverty that exists all around us. Look at it with open eyes, knowing that we can do something about it. The truth is that so many times in our country's history, it was you, young people, who changed the course of America. I saw young people in the 60s lead the fight for civil rights and to protest the war in Vietnam. It was the idealism, the passion, and the belief that they were part of something bigger than themselves that transformed a generation and transformed this country. And today, I came to ask you to do the same thing. No matter where you live or what life path you choose, you can do something to end poverty in America. If you volunteer and get involved, you can make a difference. So don't ever doubt you can change this country, because you can. It's you who can ensure that we end poverty in America. And it's you who can ensure that what was written centuries ago is never forgotten. And it's you who can ensure that life means working hard and never having to send your children to bed hungry. That liberty means being able to visit your child in the hospital without losing your job. And that the pursuit of happiness is never again diminished to begging for change. You know, my family and my faith did not teach me to turn my back on my neighbors at a time that they're in need. They taught me to open the door, to let them in, and give them a hand up. Millions are calling for our help right now. The truth is, we do live in two different Americas. One for those families who've been blessed and have achieved their dreams, and another for everybody else who struggles to get by. But it doesn't have to be that way. We can build one America that works for everybody. And 36 million Americans who live in poverty stand ready. They don't want a free ride. They just want a chance to work, to buy a home, to take care of their family, and to live the dream. So today, you and I, we say to them, we see you, we hear you, we embrace you, and we're going to do something about this. We're going to lift people out of poverty so that America's bright light of opportunity is once again available to every single American. And graduates, we can do this together. Thank you all very much. God bless you. Congratulations to you. It is my honor and privilege to be back here at North Carolina Central University with you. Thank you.
We want to thank Senator Edwards for that inspirational and challenging message this morning. And Senator Edwards, on behalf of the university family, I want to present to you the Chancellor's Award. Thank you. The Chancellor's Award presented to Attorney John Edwards, U.S. Senator 1998 through 2004, Vice Presidential Candidate 2004, for serving as Speaker during the 2005 Spring Commencement, May 7th, 2005. And now I would like to recognize members of our faculty who have been granted teaching awards. Will Professor Isabel Chakour please stand? Professor Chakour was awarded the Board of Governors Award for Excellence in Teaching. She is a professor in the NCCU Art Department, so let's give her a round of applause. And now will the recipients of the NCCU Faculty Awards for Teaching Excellence please come forward. I would like to present you with a check of $2,500 and a plaque. The first award goes to Professor Minnie Fort, instructor of English. next award goes to Dr. Veronica Wusa. Dr. Esther O'Key, Professor and Program Director of Food and Nutrition. Dr. James S. Gusa, Professor of Law, Political Economy, and Public Administration. Before I present my next award, I would like to publicly recognize three individuals. Attorney Janice Mills, Dean of the School of Law. Will you please stand? Dr. Mattie Moss, Interim Dean of the School of Arts and College of Arts and Sciences. And Dr. Robert Ballard, Interim Dean of the School of Library and Information Sciences. This is the last commencement that they will serve in their post. We salute you for your outstanding contributions to North Carolina Central University. Let's give them a round of applause. I would now like to present the Chancellor's Merit Award to Dr. Walter Brown. 50 years ago, Walter Matthews Brown became the first person to earn the PhD from a historically black college in the South, when he earned a doctorate in education from North Carolina College at Durham, now North Carolina Central University. Born in 1927, Dr. Brown served in the armed forces as the Second World War was coming to a close. After his service, he earned a BS from North Carolina College and an MA from New York University. Dr. Brown then returned to Durham to undertake graduate studies in a doctoral program in education at NCC, which began operations in the fall of 1952. His dissertation was entitled An Analysis of Teachers' Responses to Sound and Unsound Principles of Guidance. Unfortunately, this PhD program was terminated in 1964. After completing his degree, Dr. Brown enjoyed a long and successful career as a teacher, scholar, administrator, educational consultant, and professor. In 1965, he went to Washington, D.C. to pursue a career as an educational consultant. During his 15 years in the nation's capital, he served in various positions. In 1980, Dr. Brown returned to Durham and the Department of Education at North Carolina Central University to share his varied experience and expertise with the NCCU community. From 1989 to 1992, he capped off his career by serving as the first dean of NCCU's newly created School of Education. Today, we honor him with the Chancellor's Merit Award, which is the highest honor that I present to an individual for excelling in their profession. The award reads, North Carolina Central University Chancellor's Merit Award, presented to Dr. Walter M. Brown, first PhD recipient and first Dean of the NCCU School of Education, in honor and recognition of your exemplary service to your alma mater and to the field of education. Congratulations, Dr. Brown. And now I would like to present our Student Leadership Awards. I am honored to present two leadership awards today. One to DeWeston Haywood, President of the Student Government Association, and to Ms. Sharonda Arnold, Ms. NCCU.
Meanwhile, final word this segment at 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776. Our question for you is, will Barry Bonds, A, play this year, and B, ever...
And these awards read, North Carolina Central University Student Leadership Awards presented to DeWeston Haywood and Sharonda Arnold, presented during the 2005 spring commencement. All right. At this time, we wish to recognize two families by presenting them with the Chancellor's Award for having had 3 or more children graduate from North Carolina Central University. Would Jim and Doris Harper please come to the podium? While they are coming, Mr. and Mrs. Harper had 4 children graduate from NCCU. And I want to ask them to stand as I call their name. Sheila Yvonne Harper Bowen, BA in 1985 and an MBE in 1992. Jim Calvin Harper II, BA 1994, MA 1997, and he is also an assistant professor in the Department of History here at NCCU. Stephen Lamont Harper, BA 1995, BS 2000, and Darnice Calvinet Harper, BA 1992, MED 1997, and MSA 2005. The Chancellor's Award presented to Jim and Doris Harper for the inspiration and motivation you gave your children in their quest for educational accomplishment and for instilling in them the high qualities that culminated in their graduating from North Carolina Central University. Congratulations. And they are also the aunt and uncle of Drs. Shirley and Janice Harper here on our faculty. And now will Mr. and Mrs. Milton and Geraldine Pickett come to the podium. Mr. and Mrs. Pickett have had 3 children graduate from NCCU. And I would like to ask them to please stand. Hosea Lee Pickett, BA 1982. Beverly Lanice Pickett, BS 1983. And Christopher Antoine Pickett, BS 2005. And their award reads, presented to Milton and Geraldine Pickett for the inspiration and motivation you gave your children in their quest for educational accomplishment and for instilling in them the high qualities that culminated in 3 graduating from North Carolina Central University. We will now have a selection, Love, by the University Band, directed by Mr. Joram Reed. Again, that was beautiful, and we want to thank the university band. And now all students who are graduating with honors will now be recognized. Dr. Beverly Washington Jones, please come forward.
North Carolina Central University is proud to congratulate all of its graduates and to offer gratitude to all who have made this day a momentous occasion for them. We pause now to especially recognize those students who have made excellent academically, who excel excellently, placing them in a special classification of honor students. To you, honor students, we say thanks for your high academic achievement. We celebrate that achievement as yet another means to inspire those who follow you to fulfill the essential purpose of higher education. From its beginning as the National Religious Training School in Chautauqua, this institution has grown tremendously, but is held to its primary mission of academic excellence and education for service. It is your good fortune to be here today as beneficiaries of a legacy of vision, sacrifice, and achievement. Again, congratulations on your outstanding academic performance, and may you continue to soar high with eagles, for no one can predict to what heights you can and will soar.
Honorary degrees will now be conferred. Provost and Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, Dr. Beverly Washington Jones.
Chancellor Ammons, the Board of Trustees of North Carolina Central University hereby authorizes you to confer the honorary degree Doctor of Humane Letters, honorary causa, upon Dr. Linda Clayton and Mr. George Weem.
Dr. Linda Clayton, if she would come forth. Dr. Linda A. Clayton is a profound scholar, educator, and researcher who's made significant contributions to the fields of medicine, public health, and history as it pertains to the healthcare experiences of African Americans. You have touched the lives of many by blazing new trails and opening new avenues of inquiry. You received your bachelor's degree in chemistry from North Carolina Central University in 1971. And then you pursued a medical degree from Duke University, which was conferred in 1975. You remained at Duke, complete your residency in 1979. And you received a master's in public health from Harvard University School of Public Health in 1992, where you now serve as instructor and senior research scientist in the Division of Public Health Practice. Your educational background is impeccable. You came from a small town in North Carolina, and today you are a nationally recognized scholar and researcher in your field. You have more than 25 years as a practicing physician and over 30 years as a researcher. Your gift for teaching was recognized as far back as your medical school matriculation, where you received the first African American award
the prestigious Golden Apple Teaching Award from the Duke University School of Medicine. You established the first oncology clinical trials program at Meharry Medical College in Nashville, Tennessee. During your tenure as director of the Cancer Control Research Unit, you are also a prolific writer and have published extensively in gynecology, oncology, health policy, public health, and medical history, both in the United States and abroad. Your scholarship also extends to your contributing authorship to 3 oncology-related books, as well as the Encyclopedia of African American Culture and History. In addition to these writings, you are also a co-author of the Pulitzer Prize-nominated book, An American Health Dilemma, Volumes 1 and Volume 2. You're an inspiration to many, and your research transcends both race and gender, while still recognizing the existence of health disparities. You are a living example of truth and service in your education, teaching, scholarship, and research. The fields of medicine and public health are constantly evolving, but your contributions to the field remain solid references for years to come. Through your scholarship, dedication, and compassion, and faith and inspiration, and years of committed service, the nation's medical field is better because of you, Dr. Linda A. Clayton. We salute and we honor you. In recognition of all of your outstanding contributions and accomplishments, North Carolina Central University is proud to confer upon you the degree Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa. This, the 7th day of May 2005, Robert Williams, Chairman of the Board of Trustees, and our Chancellor, James H. Ammons.
Dr. Linda Clayton, by the authority vested in me by North Carolina Central University Board of Trustees and the University of North Carolina Board of Governors, I do hereby confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa.
Thank you kindly. Good morning. I would like to thank the NCCU Board of Trustees, Chancellor Ammons, Provost Jones, Dr. Allison, and all the NCCU faculty and staff who made it possible for me to receive this most noble honor. I also want to thank God, my parents now deceased, my dear husband, Dr. W. Michael Bird, who is also my colleague and fellow researcher. I thank all my brothers and sisters, my whole extended family, along with the many mentors, teachers, and faculty who inspired and guided me along the way. My journey from Timberlake, North Carolina, as a shy little girl to physician, surgeon, researcher, teacher, policymaker, and publisher has been a wonderful mix of hard work, strict discipline, intellectual stimulation, academic achievement, many challenges and opportunities, not to mention numerous rewards and achievements. All of my postgraduate achievements and accomplishments are built upon the solid foundation and education that I received right here at NCCU. It is very humbling and a great privilege and an honor to accept the honorary doctorate degree of Humane Letters from my precious alma mater, NCCU. I will use this honor and degree as an incentive to continue my work and service. And I hope that it will also serve as an incentive for those of you in the class of year 2005 to continue your work and service to mankind. I hope my work will also serve to inspire other young men and women across the nation and across the world to follow their dreams, to change the world, to keep the faith, realize that there are no limits to what one can accomplish. Learn to turn disappointments into opportunities. Always do your best and know that you can fulfill your full potential in whatever profession you choose. Again, thank you kindly, NCCU, as I graciously accept the honorary doctorate degree of humane letters that you have bestowed upon me today. And congratulations, class of year 2005.
And now, Mr. George Ween.
George T. Wing is a legendary jazz producer and well-renowned pianist, author, and the father and founder of the Newport Jazz Festival, the Newport Folk Festival, and the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival. You have been described as a living repository of the history of jazz from 1948 to the present. And your autobiography, Myself Among Others, is a personal and historic account of jazz since the 1940s, including recollections of major jazz figures as Louis Armstrong, John Coltrane, and countless others. Your vision and pioneering efforts have been vital in the perpetuation of jazz as a major component of American and world culture. Recently, jazz enthusiasts celebrated the 50th anniversary of the first Newport Jazz Festival that was founded in 1954. The festival was the birth of the festival era, and it greatly enhanced the careers of Ella Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan, Dave Brubeck, Duke Ellington, and others, while introducing jazz to a new generation of listeners. You are the founder and the CEO of the world-renowned Festa Production Incorporated that now produces more than 1,000 music events around the world. Jazz critics and author Nat Hofton stated, Wing has expanded the audience for jazz more than any other producer in the history of jazz. And you have received numerous awards and commendations from various national and state agencies, educational institutions, prestigious foundations, corporations, art institutions for your contributions to American and world culture. Your vision has established standards and models for festivals all over the world. and you have been honored by two separate presidential administrations of the White House and received the Downbeat Magazine Lifetime Achievement Award. In January 2004, you were the second annual recipient of the National Endowment for the Art Jazz Masters Award, which was presented at the International Association for Jazz Education Conference in New York. You are truly a person whose contributions to the jazz art form provides the hope and the inspiration that will propel the music from the 21st century and beyond. Your philosophy endows fellow generations with the vision to reach plateaus that seem beyond their grasp. Jazz is an art form which constantly explores the limits of the human spirit through discipline, intellect, imagination, creativity, and vision. Dr. George Wing, you are the embodiment of these ideas. In recognition of all of your outstanding contributions and accomplishments, North Carolina Central University is proud to confer upon you the degree Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa. This is the 7th day of May 2005. Robert Williams, Chairman of the Board of Trustees, and our illustrious Chancellor, James H. Ammons.
Mr. Ween, by the authority vested in me by the North Carolina Central University Board of Trustees and the Board of Governors of the University of North Carolina, I do hereby confer upon you the degree of Humane Letters, Doctorate of Humane Letters, honoris causa. Congratulations.
For a novice out there that's just looking at the numbers and trying to look for good value, where would that be and why would you go with it?
A couple horses, Doug, that I think have chances at a price. Wilco, who was the Breeders' Cup Juvenile winner last year, has had a couple of prep races this year that to me have been sort of steadily improving. I think he's just on a forward
Okay.
pattern where he'll run his best race so
Are
far
we all set?
today, and he's going to be about 25 to 1.
Okay, they're going to swing me now. The beauty of jazz, of course, is a music that swings, you know, and by swinging, it never stops. It keeps moving, it keeps propelling, it keeps going forward. And that's what you're in a position to do now. Keep moving, propelling, going forward. What I'm saying to you is keep swinging and you'll be all right, you know. And my last word is that this is a nice field to hold a jazz festival. Thank you very much.
Graduate and professional degrees will now be conferred. Dr. Beverly Washington Jones, please come forward.
Chancellor Ammons, it is my pleasure to report to you that the candidates here assembled have qualified in all respects for degrees by successfully completing curricula offered by the several graduate and professional schools of North Carolina Central University and have been certified by the registrar and recommended by the faculty and the Board of Trustees to be awarded the appropriate graduate degrees. With the summa cum laude candidates for degrees of Master of Arts, Masters of Science, Masters of Public Administration, Master of Business Administration, Master of Education, Master of Library Science, Master of Information Science, and Juris Doctorate, please stand and remain standing. With the magna cum laude candidates in those same degree programs, stand and remain standing. Would the cum laude candidates in those same degree programs stand and remain standing? Would all other candidates for the same degree programs please stand and remain standing? Chancellor Ammons, it is with pleasure that I present to you these candidates who have successfully completed all the requirements for graduation in their respective graduate and professional degree programs.
More people will be looking for it. More people will be fired up. As Smarty Jones pulled it off last year, but Jay is dialed in with the.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by North Carolina Central University Board of Trustees and the University of North Carolina Board of Governors, I do hereby confer upon you the degree for which you have qualified with all honors, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto appertaining. Congratulations. Please be seated. Okay, I got a while to go here.
And we had to turn all our cell phones off. So 3.5 hours later, everybody on the plane found out what happened. But it wasn't until we landed in Los Angeles that we found out what happened.
It is indeed a pleasure for me to introduce
Type of thing. And
Dr. Percy Murray,
today,
Dean of Graduate Studies.
you look at the tracks here in Metro Detroit that have closed. And it doesn't seem like the race game is moving anywhere fast. Let's go.
Dr. Matty E. Moss, Interim Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences, Dr. Benjamin Newhouse, Dean of the School of Business, Dr. Cecilia Stepp Jones, Dean of the School of Education, Dr. Robert Ballard, Interim Dean of the School of Library and Information Sciences, Attorney Janice Mills, Dean of the School of Law, will announce the candidates for graduate and professional degrees in their respective college and schools. These candidates will be hooded by Dr. Bernice Johnson and Dr. Carlton Wilson.
Will the candidates for the degrees Master of Arts, Master of Public Administration, and Master of Science please stand and proceed to the platform? Names of the candidates will be called by Associate Dean Dr. Linda Norflet and Chair of the Department of Theater Dr. Johnny Austin.
So the anticipation of a Triple Crown winner exceeds the actual impact of having a Triple Crown winner. I guess maybe the most important race in horse racing is the second leg of the Triple Crown. You get somebody going for the Triple Crown, and then you get the first two legs, and then it becomes a bigger deal. It's an interesting take there, Adam. I'll watch the thing today, and we'll see. All right, coming up here on the Doug Carr Show on ESPN Radio, we're going to talk a little NBA. There are some conspiracy theorists out there that fully believe in what Jeff Van Gundy had to say.
Paris Miller.
And for whatever reason, it is the league that spawns the most conspiracy
Danita
theories.
Sheena Miller.
From the frozen envelope of the Patrick Ewing sweepstakes, down to Mike
Kimberly Cheek. Kevin Bailey. Courtney Brown. Janelle Jones. Altavis Pratt. Paula Alston. Martha Worsley. Ingrid McAdoo. Brenda Saunders Winston. Wahiba Al Equada.
Capucin Scott. Makita Johnson. Dachilia Watia Hall. Stacy Lane. Sheila Brown. Sherry Brown. Lakeisha Franklin. Sylvia Latson. Shanika Baboa. Nina Bullock. Dwayne Bumpus. Cornell Wright. Renita Felton. Roland Valana. Prince Castell.
Congratulations. Please be seated.
Will the candidates for the degree Master of Business Administration please stand and move to the platform? The names will be announced by the Associate Dean, Dr. Phillips.
Meredith Weiss. Latasha Friday. Dwayne Anderson. Kendrick Glenn. Sean Coates. Jennifer Jones. Lakeisha Bassnight. Brian Thompson. Courtney Kennedy. Teresa Sessoms. Danitra Squire. Rabu Suma. Marcus Phillips.
Congratulations. Please be seated.
Good morning. Will the candidates for the degrees Master of Arts, Master of Arts in Teaching, Master of Education, and Master of School Administration please stand and move to the platform? The names will be called by Dr. Diane Scott, the Associate Dean for Graduate Programs in the School of Education.
Wanda Matthews. Leonisa Valerie. Keisha Rock. Shailandra Moore. Charity Costa. Marisha Reed. Anita McCauley. Brian Wilderman. Charles Mitchell. Alicia Cruz. Leroy Ray. Keisha Carrington. Neil Ferguson. Candace Petty. Aretha Bird. Travis Beverly. Lucy Bailey. Sheila Henderson Wormley. Kendra Core King. Wanda Jones. Emily Swanson. Sharisa Clemens. Avni Shah. Aaliyah Boone. Jocelyn Crawford. Lauren Childry. Katina Hardiman. Tracy Wilder. Sharice Lyons. Chastity Greenfield. Niamaka Flynn. Warwick McZeek. Emily Bryan. Freddie Thompson. Jean-Pierre Kintimbu. Laura Ray. Betty Powell. Fredonia Ann Brown. Sheila Deese. Darnice Harper. Tasha Thompson. Dietrich Morrison Danner. Carolyn Pugh. Crystal Vaught.
Thank you. Please be seated.
Will the candidates for the degrees Master of Library Science and Master of Information Science please stand and proceed to the platform? Names of the candidates will be read by Dr. Robert E. Bergen, Professor of Library and Information Sciences.
Emily Lynn. Lakeisha Hall. Babita Sayal. Juanica Freeman. Gwendolyn Blue. Shanae Moon. Kathy Roney. Tariq El Hushi. Latanya Everett. Rahman Rashid. Richlu Taw. Jennifer Jones. Meredith Weiss. Lakeisha Bassnight. Sean Coates. Michelle Robinson. Latanya Dillahay. Felicia Leggett. Jennifer Umbarger. Vanessa Gaskell Hertig. Jill Saul. Tammy Stewart. Mona McAllister. Ying Ki Tang.
Thank you, and please be seated.
Candidates for the Juris Doctor degree, please stand and proceed to the platform. Associate Dean Renee Franklin Hill will read the names of these candidates.
Everything's perfect.
Irwin. Kelly Enslin. Elizabeth Collins. Sarah Fitzgerald. Andrew DeSimone. Timothy Whipperman. Eugene Soar. Laura Price. Amanda Reeder. Jonathan Beiser. Emily Kearns. Julie Summers. Christina Thompson. Jennifer Boyer. Brian Wilson. John Bramble. Benjamin Royster. Jens Berginger. Bryant Flynn. Barbara Zombatfalvi. Holly Williamson. Mary Gerganis. Kelly Kincaid. Tiffany Jefferson. Clifton Gray. Shivani Ray. Ashley Cannon. Aaron Jones. David Sutton. Seth Johnson. Michael Waters. Bruce Tyler. Wayne Alexander. Courtney Booth. Jeffrey Stahl. Ruth Demery. Kenneth Glover. Lee Dew. Shannon Nutting. Ty Vang. Christy Hamilton. Emily White. Johnny Caswell. Tasha Alton. Amanda Lyons. Matthew Godwin. Blair Propes. Brian Dunning. Aaron Brown. Michael Shea. Precious Vines. Tracy Shope. Janice Ashley. Maurice Smith. Clifton Stansel. Michael Atkins. Nathan McKinney. Donald George. Neil Miles. Steve Combs. Stephen Parker. Danya Strong. Kaita Bowden. Connie Whitener. Tanisha Jacobs. Michelle Jacobs. Tasha Ziegler. Bethany Mickles. Inez Diandarze. Oh, I messed that one up now. Thomas Davis. Daryl Robinson. Norman Wilson. Stephen Arrington. Olatosin Fapajuo. Jack Gilmore.
Congratulations. Please be seated.
Congratulations to our graduate and professional graduates. And now, baccalaureate degrees will be conferred. Dr. Beverly Washington Jones, please come forward.
Chancellor Ammons, it is my pleasure and privilege to report to you that the candidates who are now assembled are ready to receive their degrees. Chancellor Ammons, it's a pleasure that I present to you the candidates who successfully completed all the requirements for graduation in their respective academic programs. They have been certified by the registrar, approved by the faculty, and of course approved by our Board of Trustees. These individuals are ready to receive their degrees, and therefore in the areas of Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science and Bachelor of Science in Human Sciences and Bachelor of Science in Nursing and Bachelor of Arts in Social Work and Bachelors of Music, as well as the other respective degrees in the baccalaureate area. Chancellor, please recognize and receive these candidates.
Upon the recommendation of the undergraduate faculty of the respective schools and college of the university, and by the virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of the University of North Carolina Central University, and by the Board of Governors of the University of North Carolina, I do hereby confer upon each of you the degree for which you have qualified with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto appertaining.
Chancellor Ammons, if you would stand with me, I would like to ask that the graduates who are summa cum laude candidates for the degrees of Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science and Bachelor of Science in Human Sciences, and the Bachelor of Science in Nursing, the Bachelor of Arts degree in Elementary Education, Middle Grades Education, Bachelor of Business Administration. Please stand and remain standing. Will the magna cum laude candidates in those disciplines stand and remain standing? Will the cum laude candidates in those same disciplines stand and remain standing? Would all other candidates for the same degree please stand and remain standing? Chancellor, the respective deans will come forth and present to you the baccalaureate candidates for those degrees. Will the candidates for the degrees Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Science in Human Sciences, Bachelor of Science in Nursing, Bachelor of Social Work, and Bachelor of Arts in Music in the College of Arts and Sciences, please stand and proceed to the platform. Dr. Johnny Austin and Dr. Linda Norflet will call the names of the students.
Lenise Hanna, Courtney Rasco, Selena Davis, Dwayne Hollyman, Brooke Dorsey, Coffee Horton, Alpha Jones, Tashia Harris, Selma Smith, Dawn Mooney, Lovemore Mascadas, Nicole Valentine, Alexis Barrington, Jade West, Tanika Steed, Takara Cox, Kalisha Williams, Chelsea Ray, Sandra Davis, Licia Brady, Tykia Peak, Amber Bradshaw, Nakomia Nolan, Kevin Yokums, Carla Smith, Shamira Moore, Jennifer Stevens, DeWeston Hayward, Sharonda Arnold, Brandon Winford, Jamal Molden, Randall Lyons, Tiffany Woods, Sheena Johnson, Stacy Harton, Aaron Day, Philip Dupree, William Gibbs, Samuel Robinson, John White, Christina Garrett, Christina Harris, Dana Hart, Alicia Cradle, Tobias Rose, Perry Bradley, LaFonda Jones, Vigilio Cuthbert, Lori Davis, Robert Hargath, John McLean, Lanita Halsey, Lakeisha Laster, Jessica Newton, Eric Cooper, Matthew Johnson, Joseph Coleman, Grover Battle, Brandon McCarron, Gerald Farrell, Robert Seawright, Nathan Jenkins, Jamisha Caldwell, Sharita Harris, Leandra Davis, Nohilana Harrington, Kathleen Howell, Ricky Joyner, Sophia Zayas, Sharon Smith, Shawana White, Angel Blackman, Callan Davis, Dwayne Craig, Larry Jones, Kristen Whitaker, Ashula Proctor, Chanel Williams Hammond, Danielle Watford, Tamika Bridges, Marlon Reynolds, Jamon Mapp, Brushra Portier,
Jarek Vernon, Deirdre Barnett, Kia Williams, Samantha Draughton, Jacqueline Bennett, Arental Fullwood, Stephanie Fleming, Brian Taylor, Lenita Gaines, Dennis Wilson, Brandon Bowman, Joseph Brown, LaQuinta Kincaid, Nicosia Davis, Andrea Dubois, Edward Covington, Sabrina Austin, Ashley Brown, Lauren Colston, Tabitha Jeffries, Nadiza Sinat, April Hendricks, Stephanie DeBerry, Mayana Dawson, LaPortia Edwards, Nasubia McManus, Christopher Hodges, Courtney Hopkins, Spencer Moore, Lavinia Platts, Lisa Sutton, Shamir Baldwin, Kathy Purcell, Adonica Rowland, Janelle Moore, Shonda Corbett, Nicole Edwards, Kendra Tedder, Lakeisha Jones, Katrina Smith, Kevin Jackson, Michelle Brown, Lashina Grady, Shanette Lewis, Adrian Roseborough, Talisa Little, Teresa Jones, Latanza Daniels, Ruth Mitchener, Tamika Yarborough, Jacqueline Reese, Robert Hargrove, Douglas Bowens, Barbara Sutton Miller, Daniel Neal, Jaquari Armstrong, Kermit Burns, Lauren Turner, Jamie Harris, Ashley Herndon, Crystal Whitfield, Rhonda Diggs, Ariel Young, Latoya Warren. Kishka Hopkins. Latoria McIntyre. James Trice. Joseph Ugogi. David Admolikun.
Kujay Chikwafile James. Helen Materik. Daniel Alawachi. Samantha Lindsay. Marissa Massey. Brandon Larson. Benjamin Mojese. Cami Carrington. Keosha Johnson. Lakeisha A. Copeland. Tiffany Blakemore. Courtney Ward. Tiffany Wellborn. Makia Washington. Marie McGee. Candice Morrison. Giselle Lima. Crystal Hines. Leighton Lassiter. Maxine Harris. Tawanda Bradley. Valencia Hill. Tamika Street. Alicia Scott. Shanita Kemp. Tania Strickland. Christy Davis. Monica Johnson. Teresia Nega. Travis Deese. Glenn French II. Josetta Wilkes. Artoria Sanders. Cherie Alexander. Nellie Amadi. Russell Williams. Alicia Smallwood. Lakeitra Spivey. Robert Johnson. Yokita Little. Letitia Duncan. Janie Stewart. Kelly Christensen. Leslie Ann Davis. Davida Pickett. Jashonda Poe. Keith Hargrave. Kristen Jones. Joseph Williams. Jocelyn Walker. Nelson Simmons. Teresa Weeks, Chansey Ireland, Talia Coleman, Crystal McCravey, Patricia Robinson, Charlene Thomas, Tamika Streeter, Jamie Boone, Yolanda Sly Mack, Robin Wilform, William Smith, Sheena Copel, Larry King II, Anissa Amani Jabbar, Irving Johnson, Antonio King, Jonathan Perry, Isaac McNeil, Joseph Hedden, Melissa Williams, Tamika Bass, Jennifer McIntosh, Shanquita Belk, Travis Bailey, Crystal Griffin, Megan Casey, Latita Adams, Tashika Lyons, Tanya Green, Cameron Morgan, Tyrone Mangum, Terrence White, Crystal Woods, Latika Johnson, Stephen Boyd, Kieran Mashaw, Taquanda Parsons, Joshua Darcet, Jason Lee, Gloria Bethia, Monique Felder, Hassan Smith, Gregory Fletcher, Teresa Coleman, Tanya McFall, Anthony Johnson, Darnell Brown, Junior Sales, Sharice Infinito, Kimberly McCullough, Shonda Roundtree, Alicia Mason, Rashida, Eddie High III, Maria Friday, Sabrina Covington, Kenya Chavis, Shirley Dunn, Gregory Cooper, Scott McDonald, Vivian Etchiquabli, LaShonda Miles, Ariel Purvis, Levon Evans, Lisa Tanisha Brown, Lakeisha Watkins, Murjesh Patel, Adam Roller, Myrna Inokia, Edith Okim, Mashodo Katalunga, Benjamin McCathern, Ashley Ivy, Dorothy Williams, Rolanda Florence, Lilo Ngomo, Sidi San Yang, Sabra Street, Yolanda Goldston, Kalikisha Lane, Kelly Henry, Roy Alston, Roberta James, Antonio Quezebero, Ann Murphy, Tia Hunt, Jamari Tuttle, Ashley Newkirk, Christopher Pickett, Jillian Beard, Maya Holt, Ariel Cooper, Jamie Brown, Mary Rhodes, Johanna Richards, Tiffany Dempsey, Janita McKinnon, Toby Lofton, Monica Hamer, Ashley Joy Silas,
Congratulations. Please be seated.
Will the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Business Administration in Accounting and Business Administration, Bachelor of Science in Computer Information Systems and Hospitality Management, please stand. Proceed to the platform.
Courtney Lee, Stacy Cooper, Tokora Hardy, Lynetta Holloway, Lemin Sadiwan, Denise Wynn, Janetta Harper, Sanjina Adams, Alicia Street, Kurianne King,
Sherry Haskins, Marveline Davis, Siobhan Jones, Lemuel Whitmore, Herb Lee Andrews, Felicia Best, Tamika Smith, Demetrius Young, Jamia Mills, Dolores G., Danica Ford, Danella Adams, Demarius Saunders, Shamika Rhodes, Deshae Spurgeon, Kadisha Roach, Derek Cannon, Jamia Simmons, Sherelja Lawrence, Nisha Hewitt, Melanie Rogers, Addis Gebra, LaShonda Gunther, Litha Parham, Aviance Burton McCrae, Tamara Allen, Terrell Brownlee, Tashonda Bellamy, Demetria Robinson, Janae Johnson, Helene Moore, Ray Robinson Jr., Kirk Montgomery, Elliot Ratcliffe Jr., Kevin Blue, David Hart, Trocan Colley, Marilyn Magnum, Alva Moore, Brandis Watts, Leslie Moore, Antha Cruz, Melissa Philpotts, Michael Hargrove, Shernay Gerald, Bobby Tucker, Brandon Hargrove, William Hunter, Jennifer Haynes, Robert Hines, Jessica Thurman, Missy Rogers, Michael Shepard, Greg Clemens, Rashida McElwain, Miranda McDonald, Henry Kellen, Janessa Rainey, Sharitha Miller, Crystal Wiley, Jason Brown, Marcus Petway, Brian Atkinson, Jayla Chisholm, Latasha Marsh, Brian Harris, Eric Duncan, Elena Parrish, Carl Lee, Omari Patterson, Thomas Boya, Angelin Hammett, Alfreda Heggie, Helena Pope, Nicole Miller,
Congratulations. Please be seated.
graduates for the Bachelor of Arts degree in elementary education and middle grades education stand and proceed to the platform. The names will be called by Dr. Diane Scott. Dr. Gilchrist, our newest crop of highly qualified teachers.
Michelle Pierce, Jocelyn Bond, Sherry Oliver, Ashley Eads, Barbara Fair, Lori Jansen Brannon, Letitia Carnes, Joanne Adams, Edwina Warren, Nicole Outlaw, Cindy Brown, Rhonda Bradley, Jamie Harris, Bianca White, Helen Matthews, Lakia Lane, Calandra Hightower, Adam Roberts Cooper, Terrence Moore, Andrea Underwood, Marquita Hill, Mia Parker,
Congratulations, you may be seated. Will all first degree graduates please stand? All first degree graduates please stand. Would all graduates who have received the first academic degree at this exercise symbolize the recognition by turning your tassel from the right to the left? Congratulations.
Congratulations. Now will you please be seated? Congratulations. We will now have the ROTC commissioning ceremony. Colonel Ken Menzie, will you please come forward?
It is my distinct pleasure this morning to commission Samantha Lindley from the class of 2005 as a second lieutenant in the United States Air Force. Samantha, would you please come forward? Please raise your right hand Air Force, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I'm about to enter. So help me God. Congratulations.
Congratulations. And now we will have Mr. Richard Smith, Vice President of the North Carolina Central University National Alumni Association Incorporated, will now conduct the induction ceremony for the 2005 graduates in the absence of Melvin White, President of the National Alumni Association. Mr. Richard Smith.
Chancellor Emmons, ladies and gentlemen, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the National Alumni Association of North Carolina Central University, I proudly invite you to membership in the association with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto pertaining. The Pledge of Allegiance for your induction can be found in your program next to the last page. Please stand. Would like you to read it silently along with me. And if you don't have it, listen to me carefully.